Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we have finally finished our T1 season group preview data sheet. We're going to be showing you all the goodies. I got the pairings and the matchups. We're going to show you the top kingdoms, alliances, and players. We're going to show you a nice overview breakdown of data for each of the groups. We're also going to be showing you where you can go and find and access the spreadsheet as we get up before the seasons are going to be starting here in about a little less than a day and a half for a couple of the groups, and then a couple more days and a half for the majority for the 6 other groups that'll be starting on the 4th, and then again some that are starting on the 1st of February. So without further ado, let me start off with where you can access the spreadsheet, and again then we'll go right into our overview. So if you want to be able to get access to that, you can join the Discord. There is a link to that in the pinned comment description down below. After you join, you go to reaction roles. You can select Call of Dragons. You can also select Notify, again for live or when we post new content. Once you select Call of Dragons, you'll go down here to where it says CoD Data Stats, and I just added the sheet here for temporary stats that are there, and we'll have them up there for however long. Whenever I take them off of this, I'll probably add them here onto the video in the description and or pinned comment. However, from there, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to be starting off with the power. We'll show you alliances. We'll show you the top kingdoms. We'll show you the overview for all the groups, and then we'll do that based on power. We'll give you some nice stat breakdowns, and then we'll show you which alliances are in each of those groups. And again, if you guys already know matchups, if you know who's going to be going up against who, let me know in the comments down below, and this should be good. I'm excited. Here we go. So with the players, always have to state, we only capture data for those that were over 100 million. What I'm going to try and do next time is I'm going to try and start, what I realized is I needed to start capturing the data earlier, and so I'm going to try and do that next cycle, and where we can go farther down. If I can maybe go down to 50 mil plus, or as far down as I can. But we'll show you each of these, and we can kind of scroll down. We'll go our way down up to keep it somewhat interesting. But we have 189 players this time around that are 100 mil plus. For comparison, when I pulled the data back in November, this was for those groups that were going into Season 2 plus, you could see that we ended up having 139 players over 100 mil, right? So kind of to give you some differences there, right? That's what, plus 50? That we ended up having more players now that are at 100 mil. And bear in mind, you know, not everyone is fully recovered, but I would imagine it's probably a little similar to the last grouping, right? And then you can end up seeing that we have, let's see here, right, let's go 110. So at 110, right, we got 115 people at 110 mil. At 120, we got 72 people at 120 mil and more. At 30, we have 55 at 130 and more. 37 players at 140 mil and more. 26 at 150. We got 21 at 160 and more. Top 16 at 170 and more. 12 players at 180 million plus. 10 players 190 plus. And then you got 8 players over 200. And then again, Mephisto kind of, you know, in a league, so to speak, of his own at 640. And again, that's not top power. I think his historical power is still over 900 mil plus. And again, we'll see if he ends up pushing for a build this season. Then we end up going over to alliances. Right, starting kind of top. I guess we'll talk about that in a sec, but let's kind of go down here. And just for comparison's sake, right, we have 160 alliances at 1 billion power. If we compare to the last cycle, we ended up having 176 at 1 billion power. Now, this is somewhat understandable because as seasons go on, we're seeing more condensing that's happening. So this is not outside of the realm of expectation, right? And then we also kind of wrote down the member list so you can kind of see what the caps are. And then as we work our way up to the top, you can see, or I guess we should do it the same way, right? So at 2 billion, we have 117 alliances at 2 billion power and more. For 3 billion here, we have 80 alliances at 3 billion and more. At 4 billion, we have 58 alliances at 4 billion and more. We have 44 alliances at 5 billion plus. We have 31 alliances at 6 billion plus, 27 at 7 billion, 20 at 8 billion plus, 15 at 9 billion, 12 at 10 billion, 6 at 11, and then 3 that are at 12 billion plus. And this kind of shows you, bear in mind this data was taken a day ago, or I guess we should say 12 hours ago. No, that would have been 12, p.m. No. So about 16, 17 hours ago, we'll say, less than a day. And this is where the power was at that time. So you can see kind of rounding out the top, you got BDO, TFS, VVV, SK1, Nawar, EIS, NK, BXS, GDTA, Arkham, ROE, PTW, OWL, ANCS, FS, Dora, AC, GG13, RKO, CKO1, EXG, MILF, 42, TC, and Bakar. Or BCAR, yeah, we'll just, it sounds right. But that kind of rounds out the top 25 going into this season. Now, let's get to the strongest kingdom. Something that most of you, I would imagine, are excited for, because again, this is something that we just really haven't had an opportunity to cover quite just yet. Again, we'll be able to do a lot more of this once home kingdoms are released, and hopefully those will have home kingdom leaderboards come around May, June of this year. But this is what we got for now. So we'll work our way up. Now, I should state for these kingdoms here, the 0 really just indicates that I'm only capturing alliances that are over 1 billion power, as we stated before. So if they're under 1 bill, again, I just wasn't counting them because it would just be a lot of extra work to do. But you can see kind of starting from our way up, there's also alliance lists. So you can see the alliances that are in each of the kingdoms as we work our way up. And you can see the kingdom power as we kind of get up, right? These are 79 kingdoms, but you can see only 70 kind of have this. So you have 70 over 1 billion power, 65 alliances over 2 billion power. We have 59 kingdoms, 59 kingdoms that are over 3 billion power, 55 over 4 billion. We have 52 over 5 billion, 47 over 6 billion, 44 over 7 billion. We got 1 at 8 billion, 35 or 36, we should say, over that. 35 kingdoms over 9 billion power. We have 28 kingdoms over 10 billion, 26 over 11, 23 over 12 billion power, 17 over 13 billion, 15 over 14, 12 over 15 billion power, 11 over 16 billion power, 5 over 17 billion, 3 over 18, and then a 19 and a 22. But this kind of rounds out the strongest kingdoms. At least you could argue the majority of these are strongest in the game. Maybe not all of them, but the majority of them can be, or are, we should say. Especially the ones that are, I would say, on the top 25. These are probably, I would argue this is the actual top 25 list. If not, it is very close. Again, if we're looking at top 7 alliance power for those alliances being 1 billion power or more, right? And again, some of the things, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, but you could see here, right, 22 bill, 19, 18 bill. I mean, these are pretty strong, right? You could see the alliances that are there in some of these kingdoms. However, the interesting part that I want to add on, and I'll probably do a separate video on this, is that if you look at the difference between this kingdom at 22.7 billion power, they're still labeled as crowded, meaning they can have more people come in. And so that is interesting to me. If you look at the alliances that went into this kingdom and you factor in the migration activity status prerequisites to go into a kingdom, and was this something that they just happened to overutilize? Were these kingdoms already having good activity and good power, and then they just utilized the system to bring in more people, right? Because if you were to say, all of these top kingdoms were full, okay, you could say that makes sense, right? They can't bring anyone else in. But to see that the difference between 1 and 2, right? And again, we're only going off alliances that are 1 billion power or more, because the understanding is that even if you're maybe 1, 2, 3 billion power, you may not necessarily be a strong, active fighting alliance. Even if the players are active, you may not expect a lot open field fighting from lower powered alliances compared to higher powered alliances. So we had to kind of come up with a threshold at that point. But this is interesting to me. When you have some that are full and some that are crowded, and the fact that you also have full alliances and you'll see nothing else, right? So you see the lowest full alliances are here at 23 at 12 billion, right? So you could say that's kind of the threshold for where you could potentially get into having a full kingdom. And we know that TFS ended up going into 23, and they brought a lot of power with them, but they basically filled up full pretty quick. And so there's over a 10 billion power difference between 69 versus that, and they're still crowded. Even here at 6, they're 17.9 and still crowded. They could bring more people in, even here at 16. So you can see how the gap from like 12, 13, 14 starts increasing at 15, 16, and then it starts spreading even further here at the top. So this is interesting, something I want to monitor more. Now let's get into the actual overview here. So here we go. Here's the overview for each group. We'll do the groups one by one. So we have in the first group, which is 2, 190, 89, 30, 39, 85, 43, and 51. They are going to be starting on the 4th. We have, and I'll thin this out a little bit here for the group number, see if we can make it a little more, okay, that looks a little better. Just so I can move over some of these items on that side. So, you know what, I could probably move over this a little bit. Cool, awesome, okay, it looks a little better. Only a tiny bit. But we got 2, 190, 89, 39, 85, 43, 51. And you can see the power, it's already formatted for strongest to lowest. And you have 19.4 billion all the way down to 2.3. So this is a pretty wide margin. You see the margin here is 17 billion power difference. That's the range between the pool, right? And this function is calculated from the strongest kingdom to the weakest kingdom, or the lowest powered, we should say. That's a nicer way to put it. And if you total the power out for the groups for these 8 kingdoms that are here, it comes out to a little over 76 billion power. You could see here's the 100 million plus distribution, right? And again, this is why when I do this next time, I want to go a little deeper with this. And maybe we will in a later video, just depending on how time availability works out for me. But you could see there's 8 100 mil pluses and 2. You got 7 and 1. 90 has 2. 89 has 1. And then I think this is 85 that has 1 as well. And I also listed the activity status for the kingdom, so you can see kind of how the distribution looks. Let's go to the next group. Is going to be 47, 53, 4, 63, 79, 31, 41, 15 to 1. So it's a little bit lower, right? This was 17, so about 3 billion power lower here, 14 bill range. You could see also I added in the ranks, and these are ranks that I did from the top kingdoms where we just kind of ranked them top down. And then the number here that you're seeing is basically a total with the understanding that the arguably lower number that you get potentially means that you may have more balance in it, right? Because if you have low, I mean, I guess it depends. The hope is that that's the case, but I probably just should have done averages when I think about that. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about that for the next cycle. Total power here is 73.8 billion, so a little bit lower than the previous group. Range is smaller by 3 billion, so that's decent. And then you could see in this one a lot more 100 mil pluses, where you have 47 with 13, 53 with 16, we have 60 with 8, and then 79 has 1. And then you can see the activity status is there to go along. Next group we have is 5, 82, 7, 88, 59, 28, 62, 10, and 32. And in this group, you can see the range here. I don't know why this 5 didn't come down. But we have 12.7 down to 2.5. So you could see even this group getting closer in power averages, because this one had 14, this one at 10, so going down almost about 4 billion more. Then we look at the 100 mil plus distribution. We have 82 with 7, we have 7 with 8, even 10 has 1, and 32 has 2 people there. Then we get into the next group, which is 87, 6, 83, 76, 81, 49, 73, 29, 68. This is a pretty big group. This is the strongest group, I believe, at the moment. And you can see 18.7 bill down to 1.7, but the range is almost 17 bill. You can see 3 fulls in a crowded, right? 2 actives and normals. You got 6 100 mils in 87, 2 in 6, 11 in 83, 4 in 76, 4 in 49, and then 1 in 73. As we move to the next group, we have 8, 65, 27, 84, 55, 48, 66, 71, 74. Power here is 64.5 billion, almost 100 bill for the last group there, or 96 if you want to round. Here we have a range of 14.1 billion. We can see the distribution for 100 mil pluses is 6 here and 8. We have 6 in 27, 1 full, 3 crowded, remainder are normal. We get to the next group. which is 36, 64, 22, 37, 44, 52, 46, 35, 70. You can see range is 14.9 to 1.6 billion, 59.3 or zero point 0.4 billion for their total power. Range is at 13.2 billion, so a little bit lower than the previous. Then we have on distribution, we only have one kingdom here that has a few people at 100 mil plus, which is 5. Then we get down to the next group. 54, 67, 61, 23, 75, 34, 26, 39, 86. 17.2 to 1.6. Range is 15.6 billion for the strongest, between strongest and lowest powered. 75.6 billion for the total power on the group. A little bit more 100 mil pluses here. We have 7 in 54, 1 in 67, 11 in 61, 14 in 23. That's the TFS group. And we have 4 in 75, 1 in 34, and you can see 3 fulls are crowded, active, and remainders are normal. Then we get to the last two groups, which is 72, 57, 24, 45, 33, 38, 63, 40, and 50. And here you could see the range 13.85 billion, 16.9 down to 3.0. Or 3.1, 68 billion is the total power. And then we look at the 100 mil pluses. There's only, I think, 2 kingdoms here. 24 is at 2. And then we have 63, which is at 3. You got 1 crowded of full, remainders are normal. Now we get to the last group, which is 69, 42, 78, 58, 77, 80, 56, and 25. We have a 22.7 billion at the top, 1.5 billion on the bottom. And then we have 76.5 billion for the total power on the group. Range that we have here is 21.24, so this is pretty wide. I think the widest so far. We have 11 100 mil pluses in 69, which again is the strongest kingdom at the moment. We have 42, there's 2, 4 in 78, 6 in 58. We have 1 in 80, and then 1 in 25. And now, if we go to the very bottom here, you can see how the pools look. And again, these are just what I'm guessing could be it, and this is only if they do the season based on T1 and they don't keep the SS or S distinction. So if they were to do like T1-1, this is how that would look. But really we're focusing on the power distribution for the groups, right? And you could see the kingdoms that are in the groups, with one being 95.5 billion, almost 100. You have a couple here in the mid-70s. We have 2 here at the mid-high 60s. 1 at 59 and 1 at 57. And that's kind of how that looks there. Now, if we want to look at alliances, for who are the alliances in each of the groups, this is what we have, right? So you can see here, right, strongest alliances, we have NKTA, Bakar, GGKM, TDR, Ord, Pop, and Fort here in this group. The next one we have GD, BDO, Laws, MILF, RKO, DK, POTC, and BC for Bad Company. In the next group we have Nawar, VVV, MTK, Sasa, RR, FG, ROZ, TON, right? So again, right, one of the strongest alliances. We got Nephisto there. And then we go to the next group, which is Arkham, Owl, GG13, ROE, DBB, NTS, Jazzercise Me, PSC, Fake, that's here. Next group, we got PTW, Blog, ANCS, AC, SLR, GNV. Next group, we have FSK, GNJA, VP22, FGHT, PGR, DILF, and then TO. In this group, we got BXS, EXG, EAS, TFS, KNQ, RR, XXVI. I mean, this could be a pretty nutter butter group, I think. We got Dora, FS, GUF, FTA, 066, KPT, HRT, ROP, SS50. And then in the last group, right, which is, again, the strongest kingdom, we got SK1, 42 TC, BSO, CK01, EP77, UDF, Sky, and GNR. And that pretty much rounds it out for what we got. Almost at 20 minutes here thus far. But yes, I hope you guys enjoy this. And again, hope you enjoy the sheet. Hope you enjoy the data that we've collected, being able to see the overviews going into the upcoming T1 season. I will just say this takes a lot of time to pool. I think all in all, probably about 5 or 6 hours that I spent, and that might be averaging it out conservatively. So again, right, for those of you that take time to watch the video all the way through, thank you so much. It means the world. For those of you that enjoy this particular type of content that I do for a part of it, that I show off on my channel, again, the fact that you guys enjoy this, you watch it, you like being able to see the overviews, it means a lot to me. You know, there's when I kind of started getting into doing content, this was always something that I had always wanted to see. I always thought, hey, this would be really cool to show off. So the fact that people enjoy it enough to watch is very humbling. So thank you for that. And again, that is going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.